Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wei and Cathy show. I'm your host, Cathy Zhang. Today, we'll bring you a feature story. We'll dive deep into the Chinese money, how the Chinese money is influencing the United States business and politics, and also what the lesson from Taiwanese businessmen can give a good reference to us. So first of all, just quick updates of a couple pieces of news. So most of the economists expect a recession by middle of next year. A survey just released today shows most economists think the U.S. will be in a recession by the middle of 2023. The semi-annual survey was done by National Association of Business Economists between August 1st and 9th, with almost 200 economists participated, 198 of them. And 72% of them expect a recession will have begun by the middle of next year, if not earlier. Among them, 19% of the economists says that the U.S. is already in a recession. 9% of them saying the recession will start in the third quarter of this year, and another 16% said it will begin in the fourth quarter. So total, that's 44% saying that America will enter a recession this year. Then another 28% says that the U.S. economy will be in a recession in the first half of next year, with 22% saying in the first quarter and the 6% saying in the second quarter. 20% said that the U.S. will not have a recession until the second half of 2023 or later. On the other hand, 73% of those surveyed saying that they are not very confident or not at all confident that the Federal will be able to bring inflation to its 2% goal within the next 2 years without triggering a recession. Just 3% of the economists said that they are very confident that the Fed can bring down inflation without a recession. 14% are somewhat confident, and 10% are confident. On the other hand, the economists surveyed have a much better opinion of the stance of monetary policy than they did earlier this year. Back in March, a record of 77% thought the monetary policy was too stimulative. Now, that number dropped to 44%, and 46% view the monetary policy as just right. All right, so as Americans are experiencing the record high inflation, the illegal broad crossers arriving in New York City are being awarded healthcare services, as well as free cell phones, free food, library cards, school supplies, and pretty soon they will be offered luxury hotels. New York City held an event on Sunday, August 21st for arriving border crossers at a hospital in the Bronx with these free goodies. Those people are among the estimated 4,000 border crossers sent by Texas Governor Greg Abbott via buses in the past few weeks. Abbott has been busing the new arrivals of the border crossers to those sanctuary cities run by Democrats as part of his plan to alleviate waves of illegal immigration to Texas. In addition to those free goodies from the city, thousands of border crossers are expected to be housed in luxury hotel rooms across Manhattan. Last week, according to New York City officials, they are planning to house those border crossers arriving on the migrant buses in about 6,000 hotel rooms. That includes the ones touted as the lullaby of Broadway, which is known as the Row NYC, formerly known as the Milford Plaza, located in Times Square. Mayor Eric Adams plans to convert it into an intake center and shelter for as many as 600 migrant families, according to New York Post report. The daily weekday regular rate for this hotel room ranges from $414 to $724 per night, including tax and fees. The guests will enjoy 30 minutes of the free web surfing using the iMac computers, as well as fitness center, among other amenities. This hotel plan comes as rents for New Yorkers have skyrocketed. Also, the Catholic charities are also reportedly working to enroll young border crossers in high-priced Catholic schools. Last month, Mayor Adams revealed that the city's shelter system was being overwhelmed by migrants. Illegal immigration poses massive costs to American taxpayers. Every year, taxpayers are billed more than $143 billion to subsidize the cost of the tens of millions illegal immigrations. So, according to the most recent report, it shows that nearly 5 million illegal immigrants have crossed U.S. borders in the 18 months since President Biden took office. That includes some 900,000 gotaways who evaded apprehension and have since disappeared into American communities. This study was done by the Federation for American Immigration Reform, abbreviated as FAIR. They issued a statement last week saying that their analysis shows that a total of 4.9 million illegal immigrants have entered the country by the end of July. The number is almost equivalent to the entire population of Ireland. According to the data from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, 2 million illegal immigrants have entered the country in the first 10 months of this fiscal year. In June, more than 207,000 illegal immigrants were apprehended attempting to cross the U.S.-Mexico border. It sets the highest number of June apprehensions in history. CPB also reported 10 individuals on the FBI's terror watch list. FBI's terror watch list were apprehended in July between ports of entry at the southwest border. That makes the total number for the entire current year as 66 of them. Meanwhile, CPB in July seized over 2,000 pounds of the synthetic opioid fentanyl, more than 3 times of June, and topping the previous month's record of nearly 1,300 pounds, which was set in April. It nearly equals the total amount of fentanyl confiscated throughout 2019. So what do you think? This border issue and how the New York City plans to spend its money hosting those illegal immigrants. So yeah, let me know. Just leave your comments there. We'll go through that. All right. So then next let's go to this feature story. So obviously, the leftists don't like President Trump at the get-go, right? An open letter to the left from 47 grassroots organizations dated on October 17, 2016, saying that for the radical and the revolutionary organizers, that's the original words from the letter, quote, defeating Trump in the presidential election is a top priority for the left. So they are very open about it. But it's curious why some Republicans, like Representative Liz Cheney, are so much against Trump. Analysis by scholars such as Professor Victor Davis Hanson said that one of the key reasons that the establishment elites don't like Trump is because his strong position on the Chinese Communist Party, the Communist China, because most of the establishment's elites do business in China one way or the other. Professor Hansen mentioned that how Liz Cheney's husband works for Chinese money, if you remember the previous interview that I did with Professor Hansen. But eventually, such kind of money will bite back. Taiwan used to have many business people doing business in China, but many of them have woken up. Their lesson would be good reference for the American business community and the politicians. So that's why I bring you this story today. So let's dive into the story. Liz Cheney's husband, Phil Perry, he is a partner of the law firm Luthen and Watkins. Luthen and Watkins is the second largest law firm in the world by revenue. As of 2021, Latham is also one of the most profitable law firms in the world, with profits per partner exceeding $4.5 million. The law firm has advised a Chinese Communist Party-linked technology company named Tencent Music Entertainment, or TME. TME was dubbed a tool of the Chinese government by the State Department in 2019. According to Latham and Watkins' press release, the firm has advised TME on acquisitions and has celebrated its client as the market leader in interactive visual entertainment experiences in Communist China. According to Assistant Secretary of the State Department's Bureau of International Security and Non-Proliferation, his name is Christopher Ashley Ford. He discussed the danger of TME's connection with CCP during media interview. Ford said about Latham's client TME, whether de facto or de jure, such giants can in some important respects or for some purposes act as arms of the state, or more precisely, the Chinese Communist Party, to which the Chinese state apparatus is itself subordinate. Ford further explained, TME is not just a music company. It is, quote, a foundation of technology-facilitated surveillance and social control, end quote, for Communist China, which is built upon the China Dream or China model, touted by the party secretary Xi Jinping. Ford said that along with the Chinese companies like Alibaba, these companies export their products and services to the rest of the world. The security and the human rights problems associated with this China model are progressively exported with them. As a matter of fact, Cheney's husband, Phil Perry's law firm, has not only advised TME, but it has also lobbied on behalf of companies with ties to the CCP. Latham and Watkins has earned fat checks for their lobbying efforts linked to the CCP. According to the Center for Responsive Politics, for example, between 2001 and 2004, Latham and Watkins was paid $145,000 to lobby on behalf of the nuclear electric power generation company Exelon Corporation, which is based in Chicago and which partnered with China Nuclear Power Operations Management Company. Liz Cheney's husband, Phil Perry's spokesperson, claimed that Perry, quote, receives no financial benefit at all from any Chinese government entity, end quote, according to Breitbart. On the other hand, he did not deny that Perry's firm did represent those CCP-linked entities. Cheney's personal financial disclosure form, filed with the clerk of the House of Representatives last August, details that her husband has a seven-figure financial relationship with the law firm. By the way, one of the Latham and Watkins partners, called Hui Xu, Chinese personnel, She was a member of the in-house legal department at the China Chamber of Commerce, which is under the Ministry of Commerce of Communist China. The famous blind lawyer Chen Guangcheng used to talk to me and Wei. One thing he told us, he said, for the Chinese Communist Party, any problem can be resolved by money is not a problem. You got that? So any problem, if it can be solved by money for CCP, that's not a problem. Okay? So now I wanted to share with you a dramatic change of a Taiwanese businessman and what his story can tell us. His name is Robert Chao. Cao Xingcheng is his Chinese name. He is the founder of UMC, which represents United Microelectronics Corporation. It is Taiwan's first semiconductor company. So Mr. Chao used to not only doing business in China, but he strongly supported cross-strait unification. But recently, after Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan, he donated $100 million to the Taiwan Society to help Taiwan fight against Chinese Communist Party. So why he had such a dramatic change in his attitude? The fact that this former cross-strait unificationist businessman became a steadfast anti-CCP leader is very telling and deserves to be learned by everyone, especially the business community and politicians in America, according to Cathy. Since 1980s, many Taiwanese business people went to China. One thing is they saw a big market there. They wanted to grow their business. On the other hand, actually many of them believe that they wanted to help China to advance technology and economy. Robert Chao is one of them. He actually rose from the bottom, studied semiconductor technology in the US in the 1970s. When Taiwan's first chip company, UMC, was established in 1982, Chao became its vice president, later making his way to general manager and chairman. As early as 1990s, Chao intended to invest in mainland China, and later UMC successfully opened enterprises in China. Chao's family actually originally came from mainland China. His father was from mainland China, escaped to Taiwan during 1949. And before 1949, when CCP took over the power. So his father always taught him, you are Chinese and someday you wanted to go back to China, okay? So Chao always supported the unification. As the head of the second largest chip foundry in the world, UMC, Chao has been regarded as a unificationist representative in the Taiwan's business community for more than a decade. He vigorously criticized the Taiwan Democratic Progressive Party, which advocates Taiwan's sovereignty. He even initiated and promoted the unification referendum in Taiwan at one time. In 2011, Chow became a Singapore citizen, not talking about his political stance anymore. But starting in 2019, he started to publicly criticize CCP. According to one of his recent interviews, the anti-extradition law movement in Hong Kong in 2019 was the watershed moment for him. Chow was in Hong Kong during the campaign and saw many of his friends being beaten up. So he said, "You come from Hong Kong, you will definitely be anti-communist." Chow said that the defense of Taiwan is not about unification, independence, one China, or two China, which he said are all superficial. But this fight was about, is what Taiwan really wants to fight is the Chinese communist zombie virus. That's his words, Chinese communist zombie virus. And the victims are the whole Chinese nation, according to Chow. He cited the Cultural Revolution as an example. At that time, Chinese people were like zombies, tearing each other apart and hurting each other. And there were many cases of sons and daughters fighting their own parents. And even the former CCP president, Liu Shaoqi, was beaten up by Chairman Mao and abused to death in prison. He stressed that the key ingredients in the CCP virus are hatred, struggle, violence, and strong words, which are important signs to judge whether it is poisoning or not. He believes the people of Taiwan should see clearly what some of their candidates who are very poisoned by the CCP virus. Therefore, the voter should not vote for him or her and cannot endorse such virus. On the other hand, Chow also cautioned people not to hate or sympathize with those who are poisoned. He said the unification and the independence emphasized by those people are actually trapped by the CCP virus, which aims to create hatred through provocation and confrontation. He said CCP is an anti-civilizational and anti-human regime. All the politicians should get to know the CCP's nature and return to the camp of human civilization. So, by donating $100 million, Chow wants to assist the Taiwan National Army to strengthen its combat readiness in the areas of cognitive warfare, psychological warfare, and public opinion warfare. At the same time, he issued a warning to Taiwan society, pointing out that there are still many problems within China right now, and advising Taiwanese businessmen to run as fast as they can, run out of China as fast as they can. For the Taiwanese businessmen who are still doing business in China, what kind of advice did Chow give to them? He gave one word: give up. Okay. He suggests that Taiwanese businessmen can gain freedom if they give up the money. They can have dignity if they give up cozy up to the rich and powerful. He suggests that they should decide for themselves whether to leave China or not, but they should have a ruler in their heart, which is, quote, "You should know that CCP is sick. You should not get infected by the CCP virus and do not support those nonsense claimed by the CCP." End quote. Robert Chow's change corresponds to the fact that in Taiwan, many previous unificationists believe that the Chinese Communist Party is beyond redemption. Businesses should earn the money what they should earn and do the business in the right way. Chow's choice not only represents Taiwan society's belief that the CCP is incorrigible, but also his role as a well-known businessman will serve as a model for the business community in Taiwan, reminding people of the concept of doing business in the right way, which comes from the traditional Chinese culture. If the businesses earn money from the CCP out of purely pursuing profits, the products they make are, would be used to oppress, for example, Xinjiang, Hong Kong, family churches, and human rights activists in China, or would be even used to kill Falun Gong practitioners for their organs, or use artificial intelligence to monitor everyday people in China. With the money and the influence, the CCP's ultimate goal is to rule Taiwan in the same way as they rule China and Hong Kong, control people in Taiwan, in America, and around the world. So how could these companies and politicians feel at ease by earning this kind of money? So that's Robert Chow's story. His leadership against the Communist Party highlights the importance of doing business in the right way, earned money in a right way. So hopefully it would start a trend for the business community adjusting the past state of relying on the Chinese market just in the pure pursuit of profits. So what do you think? What do you think of Mr. Chow? His change and his view on the Chinese Communist Party. He said it's the Chinese Party, is sick. It's the CCP virus, and how he tried to wake up the business people in Taiwan, and I really believe his inspiration, could be a very good reference for the United States, those business people, those politicians who still, having business deals with the CCP. So yeah, let me know, how do you think? So let's see. All right. So just a quick update. I reported the land acquisition deal, right? The land acquisition deal by China's Fufeng Group in North Dakota. So actually, some of our audience commented that the United States should ban Communist China from buying farmlands. Now, there are at least one U.S. senator has the same thought. That's Republican Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota. He introduced a bill last week that would prohibit foreign rivals such as Communist China and Russia from buying or investing in U.S. farmland and agriculture-related businesses. So, this in the House, actually, there was a similar bill raised in June. But let's see how it goes. All right. So, and maybe as the last piece of news to share with you, it's kind of funny. Wei is not here. We don't have a joke, but you probably will have a laugh of this piece of news. So that's about what's happening in China. All right. So some foreigners in China just exposed that in China they are doing COVID tests to the cell phones and the pillows. Okay, so that was exposed by Daniel Rekchenfen. He is a China analyst and a media contributor to media like Forbes. He posted a video on August 18th showing how his suitcase, pillows, and cell phones stacked on top of each other as a fully armed white guard first wiped his pillow with a test swab and then pointed at his cell phone. Take a look at that. They are doing the COVID test. And then another Westerner, Maddie Becking, he's a China director for Economists Intelligence Unit. He posted a note back saying that testing for nucleic acid was a necessity when we left China. And then they did a test in the bathroom, maybe on my toothbrush. On our last day at the hotel, they had to do individual PCR nucleic acid test on each of our nostrils. A person responded by posting a video saying that the steel bars came out of Changzhou, which is a city near Shanghai, needed to be tested with nucleic acid before they can put back to Changzhou. The post drew many comments saying that that's crazy, ridiculous, and stupid. Some Chinese netizens also commented. One said, "Why don't they test their own brains first?" The other said, "It's a big joke. It's a shame to the world." Another one saying that, "I guess they got a kickback for every test they do." And just a few days ago, China was giving fish and shrimp COVID test, which became a laughingstock. On August 16th, the city of Xiamen in Fujian province, which is at southern China, officially opened for fishing. But the first catches landed had to be tested for COVID. Some video went viral on the internet, capturing this ridiculous scene. A fisherman landed and collected the nucleic acid themselves, then grabbed some fresh fish, broken open their mouths, and sent them to the window for inspection. And in the video, people see the testing person who is dressed in a white protective gears, fervently put the cotton swab into the mouth of the fish to do the testing. Okay, so that's still going on in China. All right, so let's see some of, what do you think, right? So let's see some of the comments here. Alan said, "Thank you for your diligence in researching." You're welcome. Yeah, I'm glad it's helpful to you and interesting to you. Jared said, "You said Mr. Chow is a great man." Yes. Daniel, you said excellent broadcast, Cathy. Thank you. Thank you. And any other comments? Tonic Tea, you said, who are these politicians making up these testing rules? Yeah, so the testing rules is from the top. And remember one of the comments by the netizen I just read to you, they are suspecting for each of the tests they are doing, someone will get kickback. And during this COVID, during this lockdown, I did a segment before. I believe that's the beginning of the year, is how exposing how the those companies in China were making huge money by making the testing kits. And unfortunately, part of the money they earned from the United States, because our Department of Defense signed big contract with one of them, and which is on the Department of Defense's press release said that this company is based in California. It's called iHeart Lab. However, by doing the research, I fund. Actually, it's only a subsidiary, an American subsidiary of a Chinese company. And this Chinese company's stock just skyrocketed during the COVID. And they're actually later on, while they are getting the contract from our Defense Department, they are being cited by the local authority in China because it was found that the test data they submitted are fraud. Think about that. So yeah, so it's always power and the money behind it. All right, and those companies in China making big money always relates to the party leadership. So let me see any other. JT Thompson, you said the principle matters more than money. Exactly. And these such principles will really protect people's freedom. Otherwise, even though these people are earning big money now, but they would regret one day when the CCP, reach their goal of controlling people. So all right. JT Thompson, you also said Asia will never unify. Yeah, and in terms of Taiwan and China, mainland China, really, one thing I think it's worth just remind people, which I totally agree with Mr. Chao, Robert Chao's point. China and mainland China and Taiwan, the struggle is not, the fight is not about unification or independence. It's not. It's really about the dictatorship and freedom and democracy. Because but the CCP always use this type of controversy as, define it as a unification or independence, just trying to separate, divide the Taiwan society. And I think for the United States, we could learn something from that as well. We have a two-party system here, and but most of the people, even in the Democratic Party or some, in the left, who are leftist, many of them, they are deceived. They just do not realize what's really behind it, the communist agenda behind it. And so I think for people who can see through that, we probably do not want to. It's almost like the similar thing. The CCP tried to use the Taiwan independence issue to separate people, but for Taiwan, no matter it's from the DDP or the National Party, the common enemy is really the CCP. Although they have, between the two parties in Taiwan, they have differences, but that's okay. And it's just like in the United States, two parties or independence, it's okay to have different opinions in terms of how to really govern the country, but we should realize the common enemy. The biggest threat is the Chinese Communist Party, the communism, the tyranny, the authoritarianism. And if people can realize that, so like Mr. Chao said, you should, probably do one. You don't sympathize those people, but you don't hate them, right? You don't hate them. You try to communicate with them, win them over. Clarify truth to them, right? Let them know what's truly threatening. And so Larry, you said you missed a 2-day event in Springfield, Missouri over the weekend. You can see it on, okay. All right. On the Frank speech and the RSBN, okay. Truck 680, thank you for the information. Glad it's helpful. Yeah, you find it useful. Okay. So JT Thompson, is this a Trump channel? Okay, looks like JT is our new audience. All right. So, yeah. Yeah, we are not a Trump channel. Yeah, we are Chinese American journalists who has been doing journalism for many years. So we try to really report on the current affairs to help our fellow Americans to understand more about the infiltration of the communism in our country and to the world, especially the truth about Chinese Communist Party. So yeah, please just follow us, and you will, hopefully you will learn more about that. Okay. Oh, M said, don't forget like button. Yes, thank you for the reminder. I saw a lot of likes already, but if you have not clicked likes, please do so. And also, please share our video if you like it. And that's one way to really help more people to know about the truth. All right. JT Thompson, I'm open to discussion. My email has been shared. Let me know I can help in US. Wow, that's great. Let me see. I'm not sure. I think I probably can go back to find your email. But JT, if you and others, if you have not sent us your email, feel free to do so, and so that we can keep in contact, or if you want to discussion. So our email address here is here, sohnews@soundofhope.org, sohnews@soundofhope.org. So I will type it here so that keep in touch. In case anything happen, we can still keep in contact. And also, some of our friends here send like news leads or some information to me. So, we always try to read and respond to you. So, all right. So, again, appreciate your spending time with me for the show, and take care. We'll see you tomorrow. All right. Keep safe. Bye-bye.